aren't you?
Yes. Is it 7?
Yes.
All right. I call to order the Torch Lake Township regular board meeting of November 16th, 2021 at 7 p.m. Join me in saying Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we will review the housekeeping items. Board, when speaking, please move close to your microphone to ensure you are heard clearly for the YouTube streaming, and I request the citizens who speak to adjust the height and close to the microphone. There will be 2 opportunities for citizen comments. I will be requesting individuals stay within the 4 minutes in both citizen comment sections. Would appreciate everyone keeping their points concise. I would request that comments are made respectfully to the board. We are here to discuss the township's business. Citizen comments should pertain to specific issues, concerns, or policies they would like to bring to the board's attention. For the record, Policy 2.0 has specific guidelines for the citizens addressing the board and its individual members. No name calling or personal attacks. No shouting, abusive, threatening, or disparaging language will be accepted. Engaging in this type of conversation will require the supervisor to request the individual to return to their seat. To respect everyone's time, I strongly urge the board not to respond to public comments, but address them in the board comments section. Sometimes this is difficult, but this is not a debating stage between the citizens and the board members. We have township business to conduct, and it is required that we do that effectively. If there needs to be a follow-up from the board, I will direct the appropriate person to reach out to that individual. The documents on the website are aligned to the items on the agenda. These are draft documents to provide background information only. Motions were drafted to help the board more quickly get to the final wording and vote on the respective motions. The final motion may look different to reflect the actual action taken by the board. So our first item of business is approval of 3 sets of minutes. Start with, are there any changes to the minutes for the regular board meeting of October 19th, 2021? Sharon?
Very simple. Just a name spelling on my own name.
All right.
It's the first presence, and then item A2, my name spelling there. And possibly another, just a typo perhaps on the second page under item C. Number 2, halfway down the middle, where the sentence starts with stated, he has no responded. It should be maybe, I'm not sure how, no responded. Has no is not. Has not, I think it should be, is what it should be.
You're going to have to help me there. Section C, is that the FOIA update one?
Yeah, number 2.
Yeah.
If you're looking at the words on the left-hand side, it starts with stated, 3/4.
Okay.
He has not,
Got it.
it's just, he has no, it's just not
Yep.
language.
All right. Anything else?
That's all I have.
All right, Kathy?
Nope.
No?
No.
All right, Jason?
Nope.
Alan? I have none. All right, I will make the motion to approve the October 19th, 2021 regular board meeting minutes as presented with changes. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Jason. It has been moved and seconded to approve the regular board meeting of October 19th, 2021 as presented with changes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, moving on to the next one. Are there any changes to the minutes for the special board meeting of November 3rd, 2021? I can start on, under the approval of agenda, adding new item. It's the second sentence near the end, adding new item number 6 regarding. I think we need to put in there what that regarding was, and the regarding was for the Board of Review December meeting.
Say it again.
You know where?
Yeah.
Yep. It should be regarding Board of Review December meeting. That was the replacement. And then down under board comments, it's second to last sentence, starts with Mr. Cook refers public to refer to past meeting. We should probably put in there October 19th as opposed to past, because we don't know which past. Those are my 2 changes. Any other comments?
I have no others.
All right.
We're going to make,
Then,
was there a motion on the floor for this?
No, not yet.
not yet. I will make the motion to approve the minutes for the November 3rd special meeting. Do I have a second?
I can second that.
Board, it is moved and seconded to approve the special board meeting November 3rd as presented with changes. Any further discussion? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Moving to the 3rd meeting. Are there any changes to the minutes for the special board meeting of November 8th, 2021? This was the meeting that was related to the final policy meeting.
I have none.
Alan?
I wasn't here,
Or, that's right.
but I have no comment.
Jason? Kathy?
No.
All right. I don't have any, so I will make the motion to approve the November 8th, 2021 special board meeting minutes as presented. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Kathy. It is moved and seconded to approve the special board meeting of November 8th, 2021. If there's no further discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
I didn't hear, but Alan, I assume you voted.
Yes, yeah, aye.
I heard Jason. So, okay.
All right. Kathy, any correspondence or announcements?
Sure. Hang on. All right. Oh, as of today, all the new planning commission members, new ZBA members have new email addresses that belong to them for their time with Torch Lake Township. And for anybody that doesn't realize what the email addresses are, they're the customer's first initial and last name at torchlaketownship.org. And if you've got a name like Bill or William, I probably went by the way we think of you most often, so Bill would be a B unless you request differently. So there were quite a few changes and upgrades to the email list, but as of today, everybody should be good for that. And I think that's all that I had.
Do they know how to get into them?
From off-site, you mean?
The only one that asked me so far was Bob Hawkins, but if anyone wants to know how you access your township email from a place other than in the township, see me and I can give you directions. It's pretty easy.
All set?
Mhm.
All right. Moving on, the approval of the agenda. I have one change that I would like to add under board discussion. Item number 2, the township's reimbursements for cell phone usage. It was my mistake leaving that off the agenda. I had indicated I would do that. for board discussion this month, so I would like to add that on. Are there any other changes?
Under, under new business, right?
No, under board discussion,
Board discussion. Gotcha.
yes.
Cell phone usage.
Cell phone usage. Yep.
Mhm.
All right, if there's no other changes, I make the motion that the agenda be accepted as presented with changes, or a second.
I'll second.
It is moved and seconded that the agenda is accepted as presented with changes. If no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Moving to the next item. Citizen comment. Do we have any citizen comments, Kathy?
We do.
All right.
First, we'll hear from Tom Stillings.
I'm not sure if it's on, Tom. I'm not sure if it's on. Okay.
Oh. Just, yeah.
It's kind of tricky. Thank you, Mike.
Okay,
Oh,
perfect.
Yeah.
First, I'd like to start off by recognizing, complimenting, and thanking the two newest members of our board. I think Mr. Cook and Mr. Merchant both bring a business-like attitude and a sense of trustworthiness, and they've caught on really quick, and they're just doing a really great job, much sooner than anybody would have expected. I want to thank them both very much, you know.
Thanks,
And Kathy as well. I just had a recent FOIA request, and just efficient, expeditious, handled it well. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sharon, you're the rock. Our foundation rests on Sharon. We have no idea. Unfortunately, we have a trustee who misled a whole lot of people on a recent petition effort, and I find that troubling. I don't know if it's a matter of misunderstanding, of competence, or something else. But I do think that it's a matter that we need to consider and wonder if this is the kind of person that we want spending our taxpayer dollars and deciding the way forward for our township. So I do call on Mr. Martell to either resign or face a recall petition drive. Thank you all very much. Have a good day.
Thanks, Tom. All right. Any others?
Yes, we have Mr. Jairus Rubing.
Yeah, just give you a little Antrim County Road Commission update. We heard at our last meeting that the Antrim County Road Commission has filled their open slots for truck drivers, so we are fully staffed. We're ready for snow tomorrow, so, and we don't want to bring it on, so. The Road Commission did get approval for a state match for the new salt shed at the Central Lake Garage. I think I told you last month about the new garage that's going up, and we did get approved for a state match for building a new salt shed there. And the new salt shed will be a bigger shed just to make sure we have enough salt if we do get a snowy winter. If we don't, we can keep the salt till next year. That's what we hope to do. So the Alden Road is open, and it should be good for the next 100-year storm. So Mr. Thompson feels that the culverts that were put in are actually bigger than we would even need for that, but that's what Eagle with the Michigan Department of Environment and Great Lakes and Energy recommended. And it's probably more, it's more friendly for fish that could go up or down. It's near the Grass River area there, so they're happy with the way the new culvert was. It was so big that they actually had to put part of it together on site instead of putting it together somewhere else. So yeah, just got those repairs done before winter, and we should be in good shape. Thank you.
Thanks, Jarvis. Do we have anyone else?
We have one
Okay.
more. Randy, did you want now? Where'd you go?
He's over there.
To the end to end. Okay.
All right, so that takes care of that.
Mhm.
All right, let's move to
Well,
the
is there anybody in
consent.
the audience?
I'm sorry?
Is anybody in the audience? Or they're all with
They're all
letters?
here.
Okay.
We'll move to consent agenda. Any items the board member wants to withdraw? Anything to pull, Alan?
Say it
For
louder,
the-
that fan is blowing in my ear.
For
I
the,
know you're on.
for the consent agenda, do you have anything you want to
I
pull?
know, no.
Jason?
No.
Kath?
No, sir.
Sharon? All right, well then, motion will approve the consent agenda as presented. All right, special reports, Kathy, oh, I'm sorry, Jason.
Yeah, last week at our Tuesday Planning Commission meeting, we had election of officers, and Andy Graves is the new chair. Bill, is it Dvorak?
Devorah.
Dvorak is the vice chair. Laura Carlton is going to stay as the secretary, and Bob Hawkins is going to represent the Planning Commission at the ZBA. We're also still in the process of talking about the high water mark amendment and the Village Business Commercial Zoning District. We're still in discussion with that as well.
Good, thank you. Finance overview, as I've always indicated in the past, the detailed,
We skipped over Kathy.
Kathy,
I'm writing, so I was gonna let you
Well,
go, but
good.
That's all right.
you were so
FOIA.
quiet,
Unlike my normal self. is that where you're
unlike
going?
your normal self. yeah.
Unlike. All righty, well, as of today, we have had 3 FOIAs that have come in the month of November. And out of the total that I'm looking at on this page, we have 3 that are not yet completed. They have been responded to, the requesters. I did ask for the 10 additional days for all 3 of those FOIAs, but we have not given our response. 2 out of the 3 of them involve our township attorney, and I did hear a communication from him that basically what he has to say is attorney privileged, but he did respond. And the other one has to do with the referendum. So that's it for FOIAs right now. I feel pretty comfortable. We're doing all right with FOIAs.
Well,
Well, we have 3 that we need to deal with, but I'm not nervous about dealing with.
Yeah. Well, I heard from Randy today that they'll have the funds for the completion of his FOIA. So we will start reworking that
Mhm.
starting tomorrow. And hopefully if Ginny and I can spend most of the day on that, we might be able to knock that off so that we can get them something before the end of the week.
Perfect. Perfect. That's it for FOIAs.
All right. Well, now we'll do the financial overview. Might as well leave the good news till last. As I've indicated in the past, the detailed financial report is on the website. Any questions regarding the financials can be directed either to myself or the clerk's office. The treasurer's report indicates a balance in the general fund of $924,000. For the fire fund, $373,000. The ambulance fund, $363,000, and the road fund, $84,500. Year-to-date expenses have been running below budget for all 4 funds. The general fund is below budget by $93,000, but I believe we will chew through that because some of the billing hasn't come in related to the heating project and the cemetery work, while we still incur the extra costs from some of the special projects we are running. Related to the fire fund, we are favorable by $72,000, and I believe after some capital expenditures, we will end up flat against the budget for the year. The ambulance fund is favorable in part to the increased run fees so far this year. Part of that was a catch up from 2020. Expenses will be over as capital expenditures will be above budget. While we had some catch up on contract services and supplies from 2020 bills that just came in for this fiscal year, and we're targeting wages related expenses to be on budget. I'm keeping Mike on a short leash for overtime. The road fund has some projects delayed or put off, and the dollars in the fund will be used for the 2022 projects already identified and communicated to Antrim County Road Commission. We will begin receiving the December tax payments, and based on a rough estimate at this point, I think overall for the township, we should be close to budget by the fiscal year end ending in March. As mentioned, feel free to call me if you have any questions. That completes the financial review. Yes.
I have a comment. And then I hope to have some budget amendments for the December board to look at then.
Yep. We should have a pretty good idea then with the outstanding bills for the furnace work. That's done.
I'd hope to have it tonight, but
All right.
just ran out of time.
All right. Moving to board action. We have no old business. We have 3 items to consider under new business. The board has had 3.5 days to consider each item in detail to help us move through the agenda more efficiently. Moving to the first item, I make the motion to approve Resolution 2021-31 as presented, approving the petition signatures and ballot language for a referendum related to Ordinance 8 of 2021. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Motion has been moved and seconded to approve Resolution 2021-31 as presented, approving the petition signatures and ballot language for a referendum related to Ordinance 8 of 2021. Discussion of the motion, I would like to start briefly. As I mentioned at the November 3 special meeting, a letter was received from a lawyer representing a group in the township, and I indicated the lateness of the letter did not allow a quick response from our attorney. I worked with Todd and the MTA legal staff and determined that the additional information was correct, and therefore we are moving forward with the referendum. We will send the ballot language to the Antrim County Clerk's office for inclusion on the ballot of the first general election. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I do have comment.
Okay.
Well, first I have a question. General election, so are we going to decide when, or are we just saying we're going to wait and go for the general in November?
Well, the Antrim County will tell us the first time, but
No,
according
Well,
to the
you've got
statute,
August or November.
well, we'll see whichever one they
The first
come up.
No, November is not a general election, it's gubernatorial election. And
We
so,
call it the general. I'm sorry. we
Well,
do.
I'm just going by what the statute says.
Yep. Okay.
All right.
And then, shoot, you made me forget. Hang on. Oh, in terms of the petition and the signatures, I did not bring my little cheat sheet with me. They had sufficient number of signatures, and after the clerk verified signatures, registration of the people that signed, et cetera, there were a few numbers that were removed from that petition list, but I feel that you have sufficient number of signatures that will not be an issue in getting your ballot on the election in either August or November.
Thank you.
or
Anything
May,
else?
if there's a school.
Right,
Yeah,
there
there's
could be
a
a
school.
school election.
Hey Kathy,
Yes,
so how many signatures were removed?
by letter, probably 20 some. I
And-
found people that had signed that are not registered voters. And I found 2 signatures that I questioned. It appeared to me that perhaps a husband or a wife signed for the other. But even having said that, I don't think they have a problem with the number of signatures that they needed.
Any other questions? All right, if not, Kathy, please conduct a roll call vote on this.
I will, and my name is first. So this is to approve the ballot language for the referendum. I say yes. Alan?
Yes.
Jason? No. Sharon?
Yes.
And Bob?
Yes?
Okay, so that motion passes 4-1 with Mr. Merchant casting the one nay vote.
All right, board, let me know when you're ready, Kath.
The only thing I could say on that resolution, there was a typo in the very last page. Martell's name is spelled incorrectly.
All right, I'll get that fixed.
Oh, yeah, yep. Now, Sharon, let me ask, do you have a copy of this in your computer file?
No.
No, not
Because
yet.
usually you retype it with
Right.
the names, et cetera. So will somebody be doing that, or are we
We'll-
just going with
We'll
ink?
go with what Todd sent us, and we'll fix the names.
Okay,
All right. New
I'll
business,
Get a copy from Bob.
are you all set, Sharon?
Mhm.
All right. New business, item number 2. I make the motion to approve resolution 2021-32 as presented, supporting the 31 Scoops application to the Michigan Liquor Control Commission for a resort Class C license for the selling of beer, wine, and liquor for both on-site and off-site consumption. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Sharon. Motion has been moved and seconded to approve Resolution 2021-32 as presented, supporting the 31 Scoops application to the Michigan Liquor Control Commission for a resort Class C license for the selling of beer, wine, and liquor for both on-site and off-site consumption. Discussion of the motion. Folks, I'll begin. The owners have submitted a request to support this application. They anticipate their hours of operation during the summer season will be 7 days a week from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. They may also consider opening earlier, serving breakfast items, but that has not been determined yet. They indicate they may stay open for a period of time after Labor Day, but that has a lot of variables, so nothing is committed to yet. I see Deb in the audience. Did I get it correct? All right. Is there any other discussion?
Yeah, question.
Yep.
Does that include Sunday sale liquor license too? You didn't request it. Okay, that was my question.
Any
Okay,
others?
Thank you.
Can you just explain the process of this for me? As far as application to the Michigan Liquor, so they
Yeah.
are applying to do this?
They're applying to do it, and the commission asks us to
Support them?
approve it, support it.
Okay.
And so we're putting our support for that, and then they'll take that letter with the resolution, and that goes in with their application. And you now have the extent of my knowledge on that. If, any other discussion? Yes, Kath?
the carryout liquor part, would that include, some restaurants are now doing, you can do a carryout cocktail, not just a bottle of beer or a bottle of wine, but you can actually get a mixed drink and they tape it and you're not supposed to break the seal. Do you have plans to do cocktails to go like that, or are you sticking with beer, wine? So you hadn't thought of that up till me reminding you?
I think that's state to state anyway. I don't even know if Michigan does that. Does Michigan do that?
Yes.
Okay. I know it's state by state. Some states don't.
Okay, just curious.
Road pop.
And
huh?
that would be out of your shop there in the old Sonny's building, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to let them push a cart around the park.
They'd probably like to. The
All right.
people would probably love it too.
Any other discussion?
My question that I have on this, I assume that when you opened the ice cream shop, it was a permitted use under the uses in the village business area. Is that correct? I don't recall how it was established. Well, I looked under here, convenience stores, shops, and ice cream stores is a permitted use. And I don't know if that was a category that was used. How long has that ice cream store been there? 4 years. For 4 years, and prior to that, it was, is this okay, Bob, if I just ask them?
Yeah, that was the restaurant,
It
wasn't
was a
it?
restaurant.
That's my
cafe.
question. It was the restaurant. And did the restaurant have a special use?
A cafe, yeah.
Well, the only reason I bring this up, Board, is in our ordinance, under permitted uses, it says indoor restaurants and taverns without drive-through service. But then when you go to special uses, it also indicates restaurants and taverns with outdoor service. So there's two parts there that seem to conflict with each other. And I'm not sure if we're going from an ice cream shop to a tavern of some kind, or what exactly is are we allowing a liquor license for based on what we allow in the village business area?
Well, I
think
think
they got-
they're serving food, not just ice cream, right? You folks are serving pizzas, burgers and stuff. So 31 Scoops is a name. I'm not sure it's strictly ice cream.
Well, no, that's not my question. My question
Okay.
is that we have two places in village business with regard to special uses and restaurants and taverns with outdoor service. And then we also have a part called indoor restaurants and taverns without drive-through service. And one is not a special use, one is a permitted use. What I'm asking is, under what auspices are we allowing this to go ahead and encourage them to get a license? For what activity are we doing this for
So
without any other information?
tell me the section
Oh,
again. So
you're in
we can read
section
it.
10.2 and 10.3.
It's kind of like Pine Hill Nursery. They had a nursery there when they got their license there. It's like Stan Dawson, we had his farm market. He had his wines and stuff there. I'm not sure how all that ties in. There's a lot of other ones that got, the golf course has got food, but it's a
Well,
golf
again,
course.
I'm not questioning it, but I don't know what they're going to do in this situation. What are they going to have there? In some way, it could be extremely compatible with the area, or in some other cases, it could not be incompatible. The other thing I look at as well is that once you approve this, it also can be sold that way in terms of what they're doing. So without any, as soon as you put the word liquor up there, I right away say, okay, we got a park, we got traffic, we got kids. And the restaurant there was very controlled and on the inside, but I don't even know how that was permitted actually, if that came under a special use or not. I wish I had some history on that.
Yeah, I think the cafe, when it was there, had a special use in there.
I think they might have, yes.
So give me the items again.
I'm looking at number, on page 10.2,
Yep.
number G,
Okay.
and then on 10.3, under special use, item D, where there seems to be a conflict in terms of what is meant there, as I see it.
Did Sonny's Market sell beer and wine? I think they did, correct?
Yeah, they did.
They did.
They
And
did.
so then it went dormant. And then the cafe took it over and had to reapply and reestablish it. I know they had a hard time getting it moved down where their current location is. It took quite a bit of jostling with its Liquor Control Commission to get that down there. And then it was, right, and just to know, Deb worked for the State of Michigan Liquor Control Commission, so,
I would, again, I'm sure it'll be okay, but what I'm concerned about is setting a precedent for this kind of an activity without really being clear what we're approving with regard to the use of alcohol.
it's kind of like I'm sorry to interrupt.
Well,
Alan.
I'm just looking at both parts, because we have it under permitted, and we also have it under special use.
All right, so I guess my question would be, there is no definition for drive-through. So are we thinking in terms of drive-through as to window service? Or are we looking at a definition that says people can drive up, go into the store, purchase something, leave the store, get back in their car? So I don't see a clarification of drive-through back in section 23 of definitions.
Right.
So
Where does drive-through come in
And
at?
Bob, when I look also at D, outdoor service, does carry out mean outdoor service? I don't know. Again, that's not defined either. I just wish it was a little tighter. Again, I'm not questioning what they want to do there, but I'd like to know what they're going to do there and how does it fit our ordinance?
We can ask them.
When you
we?
say when they sell it, it stays with the business name, right? It doesn't stay with the building, does it?
Say it again?
Well, you said if they were to sell this business, the liquor license stays with it. It's just the business name though, but it doesn't stay with the building, correct?
Yeah, the whole thing becomes saleable. So the liquor license stays with the business, is that correct?
it's transferable.
I'm sorry.
It's transferable, right? I mean,
Mhm.
it would have to transfer and it would have to get all of the appropriate
Right.
approvals.
But it seems that again, the only question I'm having is if we're allowing alcohol use and we have two definitions, it seems that we ought to firm that up. That ought to be firm in terms of how we understand that,
Yeah.
because this won't be the only one that will happen.
So let's go back to square one and say, okay, with the services, the letter that you sent indicated that it was going to be for in-house consumption. Would that consumption include the patio in the back, or are you selling
she come
things
up
for
the
people to leave?
microphone?
I'm sorry.
Deb,
Yeah,
please.
Deb, come on up.
We'll get it done. Easier to
Probably still should be on.
pull it down. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Closer.
Can you hear me?
Now we can. All
Okay.
right.
I can only answer from a liquor control standpoint. If you apply for an outdoor service area, which in our case would be the back patio area, then yes, you're able to serve in that patio area only.
Okay. But now you wanted it for outside of that area consumption. My understanding was,
You can't go outside of a licensed area per liquor control.
but your comment, let me pull it up. Your comment is for inside and outside consumption. So what you're telling me is that it's basically on premise and you're not selling it to leave the premise.
You have to have an SDM to leave the premises, and that's a beer and wine license. We have already applied for that, and we have probably been approved. That does not require township approval.
All right, so it's just the liquor then, and that would be staying on premise.
Yes.
So then, Alan, I think that would say there's not a drive-through service.
Liquor control does
Or-
not approve drive-throughs right now.
At
It's gotta be
least,
grandfathered.
at least on that basis, because again, we don't have definitions for either the drive-through or
So
the
then this is
outdoor
going to be
service.
a tavern?
It's
That you're going to
what they
have?
call a resort Class C. A Class C allows for liquor, beer, or wine on premise by the glass.
So again, this will be, I don't know liquor control, but you're going to open up a tavern,
It's a Class C, correct.
like a
A
bar.
tavern is just beer and wine.
And where so you still have ice cream?
Yes, in the front.
So there's two sections to your store?
We took out the walk-in cooler, so we have seating in the back.
So I've only been in your store once, a long time ago. So you have an area in the front where you're serving ice cream to people, and
Mhm.
then you're going to have a back area where you're serving alcohol?
Primarily, yes.
But you have other food.
The entire area will be licensed according to liquor control,
Correct, I
Right.
understand that.
but we don't really want alcohol up in the front. I mean, that's more like a kid kind of area.
Well, that's partly what I wondered about as well, because you do have kids coming in for ice cream kind of thing.
Right, that's why we kind of segregated it.
I don't know how that works, but kids can go into an area that's basically a bar and buy ice cream even from, as long as the liquor's not right there,
Kids could, yes, you could do that,
and that would be okay under Michigan law,
you're right,
okay?
but we prefer it be a little separated, we don't really want.
Well, again, what I'm looking at though in here is, again, under special use, they're saying that there may or may not be outdoor service. The question I had is carry out outdoor service? I don't know that.
What do you mean by carry out outdoor service?
Well, did you not say that you're going to be selling it so they can take it on-site or off-site consumption?
Beer and wine to go, that's bottled, you can't uncap it. It's not like you can serve it and they can walk away with open drinks.
Well, I'm not implying that, no. I'm just
Okay.
looking at this phrase, outdoor service.
The outdoor service area is a licensed area and it will have to be fenced or some kind of barrier that meets liquor control requirements. And it has to remain in that area when it's open.
See, that's again, she's defining our own outdoor service here, where it may mean other things as well. That's why I look at that, and it seems that we should have that really clarified.
Well, the question is, because I wasn't here when you guys did Pine Hill. Pine Hill has outdoor services.
Their entire nursery is
So
licensed.
I don't see a difference between what was approved for Pine Hill, because I went back and I looked at the minutes on that, and you guys voted for that unanimously. I don't see that their area is any different. They serve food in a restricted area. Now, I don't think they sell beer to go out. I think it's all right there. So,
I don't know.
and,
If it's capped, it can go out.
Right.
If it's,
well, I don't know.
that's
The times
okay.
I've been there, I
If
haven't
it's
seen
open, it
but-
cannot go out.
All right, so it seems to me if it was passed once before with the same type setup, that in fact, it would have been approved, not under special uses, it would have been approved under,
Right, and you've got all,
Did the minutes use it by right for Pine Hill?
I'm sorry,
Did the minutes for Pine Hill indicate by right? Do you remember?
hang on.
Or how their application went? And did they have any particular restrictions? I don't really remember, Bob.
No, that's all right. I actually had, what it said was, Pine Hill Nursery Tavern Permit. Ben Rupert was present to ask the township to approve Pine Hill's application to Michigan Liquor Control to obtain a tavern permit, which would allow them to serve beer and wine in the cafe during regular business hours. Local government approval is needed before the application can be submitted. Discussion proceeded. The motion by Schultz to approve the resolution that the application by Pine Hill be considered for approval was seconded and passed 4-0, with Gosen abstaining due to his employment as a wine distributor, and that was April 16, 2013.
What I'm wondering though, then they went under use by right as opposed to, that's what I don't know what the planning commission said. Or didn't they go to the planning commission?
Well, it doesn't say it, so I'm assuming they've come straight here because the minutes don't reflect that the planning commission had any say on it.
And
Which
the
is
di-
why my motion, I kind of went along the lines of what was approved before.
right, are you done with your, Alan?
Go ahead.
So that was a tavern, that was for beer and wine only, not for liquor. Tell me again a little bit about this resort Class C license.
Okay. Pine Hill Nursery has a license under the quota system, which is considered Class C. They chose to do just beer and wine, thereby calling it a tavern.
Right.
But they still could go back and amend it. They still maybe need township approval. I do not know that. Ours, we don't qualify for one. There is not any others available.
Right.
So our only option is to go for what they call a resort Class C, which is issued over and above the quota, and you're chosen to do it, and you have to pay for it.
Right, because Torch Lake Township has no more licenses.
No more licenses.
I knew
Correct.
that, so, okay,
Yeah.
so you were under the umbrella of the resort because we had no other licenses.
Right, and that's our only option unless we buy one of the original transferable licenses, and they're pretty expensive.
Right, and
Mhm.
that probably would
This is
include Sunday
expensive
sale.
enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, I know. I know the Eastport, when we started there, we were the first ones to get the Sunday sales liquor license because it was the time we were building, and we were the first one in the state of Michigan to get a Sunday sales liquor license, and it was not cheap. So I guess you've answered my question there then.
Okay.
So let
What,
me,
excuse me, go ahead.
back to one of your questions, Alan. It's a brief description of a resort. The statute also allows for special resort licenses that may be issued in limited numbers each year over the quota limits. On-premises resort licenses have specific investment thresholds to qualify, cannot be transferred to another location once issued, must be open a minimum number of days and hours each week, and come with a $20,000 initial license fee. So that, to your question, was it yours or Alan's, whether or not it could be transferred or not, it can't.
But it stays on that site, though. That's how it be transferred.
It transfers ownership, but it stays at the building.
That's fine. You can't go to another location.
Correct?
Okay.
I have one other question. In the resort license, in other words, if we wanted, could we get 5 more resort licenses in the township if we met those minimum requirements that he just read?
Probably not. Liquor control only issues, and I don't know the exact number, 5 or 10 a year statewide.
Oh, statewide.
So it's highly unlikely that you would get that many in 1 year.
Goes with
How do they
population.
decide the areas that they'll go to?
They look at how it qualifies as a resort.
Right, population, all
Yep.
kinds of things.
So
Yep.
there's applications from all over the state for these
Yes.
5 licenses, you said?
5 or 10, I think I don't remember. It was 4
It's-
years ago
it's
when I worked
limited
there.
number.
So they give out 5 a year, so in say a 5-year period, there's 25 more.
There could be. They don't have to issue them.
Do they normally?
When I worked there, yes, they did.
Uh-huh.
There was enough applications to,
So that adds taverns, 25 taverns in areas throughout the state, say over a 5-year period.
Class Cs, yep.
Class C?
Yep.
And so that's just kind of perpetual development of those kinds of facilities.
Yeah, because some areas you can't get any other kind of license unless you
Okay.
buy one of the original licenses, and you're looking at $80,000 to $100,000.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah,
I contacted Jeff Wanghoop, who is also our ordinance enforcement, and asked him a lot of questions. He emailed me back, texted me back and said, Sharon, this is what I could find. Agaming, Eastport Market, Torch Lake Cafe, and the Pine Hill Nursery all have active liquor licenses. The Bargy Farm Market is an escrow, and that date expires in 2022 if it doesn't re-up. And then they were not open this year, so I'm not sure how this liquor control handles that if they're not open. So they may just forfeit that one
they
there.
can keep it in escrow for 5 years, and I think it's been 2 already.
2 years, okay. And then he couldn't find anything online, and I looked too also for Stan Dawson's on the Cherry View Farms. I think that, again, it's been at least 7 years, so I think they lost their
think so,
license
too.
there. They no longer have a license that we could find. That's about all I could work on that one there.
Okay, thank you. That's good information.
All right, board, there's a motion.
I
It's
have a
been
question.
Seconded, yes,
I
Ken.
don't know if it's significant, but we don't allow drinking in our day park, correct?
That is the rule. The ability to enforce that, I do not put people at risk. And so there is drinking in the park. There's drinking it when people come in off their boats and they sit there in their boats.
Well, it like puts them in a hard spot in that, they can't really encourage people to buy something to take down to the park because the park doesn't allow drinking. If you're going on your boat, maybe that's a different thing. I don't know if it's significant. I just know that we have that rule, and it worries me how this might affect their business or how their business might affect our park.
Well, I don't think their business is going to affect our park any more than Eastport Market does, because they're not going to have anywhere near the size of the cooler. So, I mean, we've got a drinking problem down there. There's not a thing we can do about it unless we get somebody that is going to be wearing a uniform.
Wait, we have an OEO now.
I'm not putting Bob in that risk.
Kathy.
We're not, I mean, I've got people coming to me telling me I have to enforce the no drinking, and I'm telling them, look, there's no way I'm putting our citizens at risk to enforce them. If people are drunk, dial 911. But if people are having a beer down there and they're
90-degree day.
well behaved and stuff, I'm not asking our people to create problems, and that's going to create a problem. And again, the standard for our workers down there is if you've got a problem, dial 911 and don't mess with it. Stay out of harm's way. So that's why this is a very small, as far as I'm concerned, you can vote the way you want, but
I wasn't in favor of them creating the rule of no drinking in the park for just that reason. How is it going to be enforced? But they put it in anyway. Is that sort of like the no drugs in a school zone? That if you happen to get caught doing that, the penalties are a million times worse because you're in a school zone? So because they have the law, when they need to use it, they can use it?
Kath, I have no other way to explain what I did.
I know,
There-
I'm concerned.
There's only one way to look at this thing.
I'm
and-
worried.
Well, there's a lot of things to worry about at the day park.
But that's not going to be one of them.
And Virginia's not here, but if we've had 2 or 3 911 calls in a season, I think I'd be surprised, and I'm not so sure it would be drinking. It might be drinking related, but it's normally somebody that just doesn't want to do any of the rules that we do have, especially jumping off the wharf. So
Well,
that's a
let's
significant.
not forget, we've already had one person shot at a boat launch on this lake.
That's right.
I don't think that's the norm.
All right.
All right,
So
like I
board,
said,
any
I
other
don't care.
questions? No, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Deb.
All right, board, we've got a motion. It was seconded.
Yes,
If there's no further discussion, Kathy, would you do a roll call vote, please?
I will. Alan, you're first.
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
Sharon?
Yes.
Myself, I will say yes. And Bob?
Yes?
That passes 5-0.
All right, board, good discussion. Thank you. Alan, good points.
I'll get this typed up for you, Deb, and you can,
All right, we'll move to the last item. There are 3 motions that will be associated with this item. The first motion is as follows. I make the motion to accept the notification by the Township Ambulance Authority to terminate the management agreement dated March 19th, 2019, effective November 30th, 2021. Do I have a second?
I'll second that, please. Thank you.
Thanks, Sharon. All right. It has been moved and seconded to accept the notification by the Township Ambulance Authority to terminate the management agreement dated March 19th, 2019, effective November 30th, 2021. I will start the discussion on the motion. I indicated to the board during our June 15th, 2021 meeting in the information section of our agenda, and Mike Bertram has been indicating the same in his monthly reports, that Sharon and I were in discussions with TAA for terminating the agreement and making other arrangements to handle the management of our ambulance group. We concluded those discussions earlier this month and received the termination notification from TAA. We need to decide how we want to manage our ambulance group going forward, but we can have that discussion after voting on the termination letter. Any discussion by the board? All right, hearing no other discussion, Kathy, would you conduct a roll call vote,
I
please?
will. Jason, you're first.
Yes.
Sharon,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes?
Kathy, yes. Alan,
Yes.
and that's another 5-0.
All right, thank you, board. All right. I have prepared a one-page description. Everybody should have that in their package. It's a PowerPoint presentation. Talks about current status, what our proposal is, and what those proposed changes look like. Our cost with TAA was $50,000 annually. That covered the full spectrum of their managing our ambulance group. As a reminder, they were brought in to correct some issues we had with med control and to help us get to advanced life support or ALS status for our ambulance. We were successful in achieving ALS in 2020, and Mike had a big hand in that achievement. We've become a valuable member in Antrim County, providing ALS service as required, not only in our township, but with our surrounding neighbors. Mike has been our contact manager since he took over in early 2020. He knows our operation, personnel, and is the driving force behind keeping our service at the ALS level. Over the last 3 months, he has been training Ted Schroeder to do the ambulance payroll and the billing of our services through Acumen. We have two options. We can search for an ambulance director capable of performing all of the work currently performed by TAA. The estimated cost with benefits for a full-time director is something north of $65,000. As an alternative, our proposal would team Mike Bertram and Ted Schroeder as our team managing the ambulance operations. Mike will serve as a consultant with emergency management oversight, having full responsibility for managing Ted and ensuring that all ambulance operations maintain AOS status. We would also serve as the backup for Ted during his absences, especially at payroll due dates. Mike would also be responsible as Ted's manager in his role as ambulance administration. In addition, TAA has offered to support the continued education program for our ambulance employees, as well as support during the annual state licensing and inspection of our equipment. The fees associated with that support is at a rate of $50 per hour. We do not anticipate significant costs in this area for TAA. The cost for Mike will be $1,600 a month or $19,200 annually, and the increased rate for Ted would be $15,000 in total. That totals $34,200 or a decrease in overall costs of $15,800, a savings of 32%. To run the ambulance operations and significantly less than hiring a director. Ted currently makes $22.65 per hour, and this would raise his rate to $31 per hour. This serves as a background board. I'm open to your thoughts. Alan?
The only question, you said something even in your presentation there. Mike is responsible for Ted.
Yes.
Mike manages Ted with regard to what? You said something.
The ambulance administration, which if you look on my chart.
Yeah. I understand that. What then is, I want to know who's the boss.
Mike.
Gotcha. Thank you.
There is no question there. All right, board, any other discussion?
And he has to manage Ted?
Well, you do. I told you, Ted, you know. Ted's fine.
I know.
If you pick on him, don't call him for help next time.
No, I know, because he's my IT person.
All
and I
right.
can't.
I have a comment.
All right.
I am strongly in favor of this. We started with TAA from the very beginning, before Mike was even on board. They led us all the way. through thick and thin, and I would never in my wildest dreams ever would let this ambulance down to the community. So what we're doing is the same level of what we've had all along. It's a cost savings to us, but the service is not going down. The service has only continued to grow. Ted has been in rock with getting the payroll to me on time, accurately for the last couple months in training, and it's a superb job that he's doing there also. The revenues are coming in quicker because the reports are getting done faster. I think having it in-house the way we're doing it currently with Ted and Mike leaves us undoubtedly in a better position than just TAA trying to oversight and manage it. I was on that ambulance and worked on it for 30-some years, and I would never let it go. And we built it up to where it's at now for the community, and I have all the respect in these two gentlemen to continue bringing it forward.
Great. Any other comments, board? No other comments, then I will make a motion to accept the contract proposal as presented with Mike Bertram to provide emergency management oversight with the overall responsibility for ambulance operations effective December 1st, 2021 at a rate of $1,600 per month. Do I have a second?
I will second that.
Thank you, Sharon. It has been moved and seconded to accept the contract proposal as presented with Mike Bertram to provide emergency management oversight with the overall responsibility for ambulance operations effective December 1, 2021 at a rate of $1,600 per month. There's no other discussion. Kathy, please conduct a roll call vote.
Just one thing real quick. We've already paid TAA for November, so we'll just continue on the TAA contract's done, so we'll continue with this with the same
Correct.
protocol that we're doing
Right.
along the way. Right? Okay.
We'll expect an invoice from Mike.
Well, we do our monthly,
That's fine.
first of the month type of things.
All right.
Okay.
Kathy?
Just want to clarify that.
All righty, I got Sharon first.
Oh, yes.
Bob,
Yes.
myself, yes. Alan,
Yes,
Jason,
Yes.
perfect. We have a 5-0 approval.
All right.
Welcome,
Thank you, board.
both of you.
Well, we have
Well, I
one
mean,
more step.
I know he's been here all along.
We have one last part that we have to follow through. I would like to make the motion to increase the hourly rate of Ted Schroeder from $22.65 per hour to $31 per hour for the added responsibilities related to preparing ambulance payroll and any other items as presented or that may be assigned with an effective date of December 1, 2021. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Sharon. It's been moved and seconded to increase the hourly rate of Ted Schroeder from $22.65 per hour to $31 per hour for the added responsibilities related to preparing ambulance payroll and other items as presented or that may be assigned with an effective date of December 1st, 2021. Hearing no other discussion.
Did you ask for discussion?
no, he didn't.
All right,
I have discussion.
good.
I'm just curious, does he continue doing his station manager role
Yes.
separately as he has been doing, Ted?
He'll continue doing his cross-trained. The station manager is an ambulance duty job, so that difference between the $31 and his cross-trained will become ambulance funded at that point. So what you're saying, that 515 that's currently now is part of that $31, Kathy.
That's what I'm asking. So that will disappear and it's rolled into the $31.
Correct.
Thank you.
Because if you
What-
add up everything he's getting currently, cross-trained and the station management is at $22.65, correct, Bob?
Yeah, it's still bifurcated. We'll still have the fire cross-train, that will be charged the fire budget. And then to the ambulance will be the combination of the station manager and payroll operation.
Okay, that's all I'm asking.
Okay?
And the
Good
payroll
question.
will get adjusted to such.
I have a question.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I don't want to direct it at you, but I may have to. Uh, Who handles the nuts and bolts? In other words, for example, when there's a shift change, both the ambulance is completely reviewed by the incoming shift, used to be anyways. And now that we are paramedic, we also have a box that we carry with regard to medications that has to be reviewed and checked. Is that handled by Ted, basically?
Actually, we oversee it through our computer program now. When they go in and check the ambulance, they have to check off boxes, everything they check. And then about once a month, we do what is called a state review and check everything. So if there's anything that's expired, we get rid of it. So it's basically done through the 9th grade computer, and we both oversee that, yes.
So you guys dispose of that or take them somewhere or?
You gotta take it back.
Okay.
You take it back.
Okay, okay.
You
Yep,
get
that's all I want to know.
credit back
Set.
on it, I think. We get the credit back and take it back into Munson. Right.
I'm getting sensitive asking if there's any other discussion. Do we have any other questions? All right, Kathy.
All righty, we got Sharon first.
Again, yes.
I'm just reading it. Bob,
Yes.
Kathy says yes. Alan
Yes.
and Jason.
Yes.
Boy, we're on a roll. 5-0 passed.
Thank you, board. That completes new business. So we'll move on to board discussion. And the first item is content related to board discussion. And Alan, you asked me to put this on at our last planning meeting.
Oh,
And so I turn it over to you.
I don't have anything special to say, except that all the difficulty I had getting what I still haven't got it yet as of when I left the house. My phone record from a company called TrackPhone, which is my phone. And I'm looking at I've never thought of that as a difficulty. Personally, I don't want the money anymore. I don't care about it in terms of my cell phone supplement or whatever you want to call it. But that's me at this point. I don't know what to do about that, but I thought at one time it would be a good supplement for, many people get it here besides the board. And again, what the information that comes, that I understand it from talking with the company, my carrier, is that they're just going to list numbers. They don't list anything else. I get no monthly statement or bill or anything like that. So my just thought is that I thought it was a nice benefit, but it's not critical for me.
Well, that's point number two. Point number one was that you had wanted me to put on the agenda for board discussion what topics and when they are to be discussed if a board member wanted to discuss them.
Oh,
Yeah.
fill me in on all that.
Well, it was your question. So, all
Well,
right.
again, well, my concern, Bob, in that is I'd like more discussions. We've had some good discussions tonight. I've learned a lot. I like that. And just that we have more opportunity to discuss. When we put a motion out ahead, it's almost like an order in a sense, and it gets locked in. You've got an argument for it, and you hold, other people have arguments for it too, but the discussion ought to be, okay, because we all represent people in our community as much as we can. So what I bring to this board with regard to a point of view is not Alan Martell. I say try not to make it Alan Martell. I try to make it as general as I can among people that I'm in contact with. And that's all I'm saying is that I miss the discussions. The best one in discussions was Bob Spencer. And we used to have some very good discussions. When you get an idea of what other people believe and what you're hearing and things like that, we're able often to, what I liked about it, we often didn't compromise. Instead, we found alternatives that everything fit. And I like that very much. But that was my comment.
Yeah. All right. Very good. The second item is the cell phone. So Alan,
Yeah,
we've
that's
got
what I'm
your
just
comment.
saying. If we drop the cell phone, or I personally drop the cell phone fee, or I don't know if that's possible or not. There was a
All right.
motion, I think, somewhere along the line.
Well, this is just for board discussion. Whatever comes up, I will make a motion, or we can make a motion for the next board meeting. Remember, most of the things, if you have motions for the meeting, they're due on Wednesday at 5 PM. So I'm not restricting anybody from putting things on the agenda. So, board, do you want to have a discussion on cell phones tonight? We kind of said that we were going to bat that ball around at Randy's suggestion. Any thoughts, or would you like to get a motion put forward at the next board meeting?
We can wait. Just following up with Alan's comment, the way it started in the very beginning, before Jason and Bob were on the board, was our EMS director was using his phone and converted his phone and put Torch Lake Township's name on his billing, which I caught and was totally wrong. And so Alan and Tom had worked together to work out phones. And that's how the phone discussion came about. And rather than to have the township buy new phones and everything, it was when Alan we made the motion, the board at that time, to supplement $25 a month for the phones paid quarterly. So that's kind of how it came about. There was no payment to the board members or anybody else up until prior that an ambulance director needed wanted his phone paid, so.
And it's part of our benefits package, right? So if we wanted to remove it, it wouldn't be that difficult to take it out of the package.
I don't know, I have to look at the
Well,
way it
the
was
only,
wrote up.
well, we have other department heads too that have.
That's
their
correct.
Phone taken care of, and they probably do need it, need to have.
Yeah, we have
Well, that's a good
maintenance.
benefit for them.
We have maintenance and fire department and fire
Yes.
chiefs and so forth, so.
Well, for you guys, I talked to Todd, and, there's nothing against us providing the $25. Doing that, people have to realize if you use your phone for township business, it is foiable. And if in fact you say you have no township business on your personal phone, if there's a FOIA request, you have to fill out that affidavit and indicate as such. But it's really up to the township if we want to keep it or end it. And there is that risk of being called upon on a FOIA request. There is a restriction that they just can't take any of your personal information unless I think there's a subpoena. But other than that, if it's township business, you got to report it. So I will put it on the agenda for next month, and we'll take action one way or the other.
I considered, board, even the idea of getting a second phone, and that would be the phone I would use if anyone, that I'd put on the webpage and things like that. I don't know if that's the way to go either.
Well, that's
I
what
really don't mind people calling me at all with questions, but
There are townships that do all kinds of different things. I know a township in Antrim County that provides all their board members a phone, paid and bought a paid phone for them. And that number is listed in the Antrim County directory with that phone number, and that's the phone they use,
exclusively.
personal and business.
Well, folks,
So-
I got a second one, and that's the number I've given to the township, and very seldom do we use my personal phone.
I'm not
All
very
right.
phone savvy, so I'm pretty dumb with my
All right,
phone.
so that's fine. We'll move on to the
I admit it.
next item. We have nothing in informational purposes only, so we'll move to citizen comment. I'd like to remind citizens that I'd like to keep it to 4 minutes. Brandy, I think you were the
Yeah,
only one
Brandy.
that wanted to speak in the evening. Yeah,
You're the only one left. How about that? That turned in a sheet. Is there anyone in the audience? Randy wanted to go last.
you're the only one we got, Randy.
You're last, yeah.
Randy Bishop, 11089 Wood Special Drive. I find it interesting that because of my FOIA request, that all of a sudden Mr. Martell doesn't want the reimbursement. Legally, the reimbursement has made all of your phone records, anybody that's received that reimbursement, subject to FOIA. I'm not going to accept an affidavit that he hasn't made any business calls on his personal cell phone, which he's been getting reimbursed by this township for quite a long period of time. He is in violation of my FOIA request. I'm not going to talk about the township. I'm not going to talk about your attorney. I'm going to talk about Mr. Martell personally. It is his personal cell phone records I requested. You are in violation of my FOIA request. Period. End of story. You can't retroactively deny the money you've already gotten. Those records should have been kept. All of your records. If anybody's been getting paid 25, 50, 100, I don't care what the amount is, your phone records should have been copied every month and submitted to this township for the said reimbursement. That's the law. I've already talked to my attorney. Because of your violating my FOIA request, I'm going to begin a recall petition of you next week. I'm going to take it to the citizens and I'm going to explain to them that you're in violation of a FOIA request that's been properly served to this township, responded to by the clerk, and that you have failed to provide the information. People will decide whether they want to sign the recall. Because I believe not only your phone records, but the emails that I'm still waiting for are going to document some of the things that you've been doing in this township that I don't believe all of the people of Torch Lake Township's best interests have been served. So with that, that's my public comment. You guys talk about the cell phones all you want going forward, but retroactively going in the past, the reimbursement's been paid, the records should have been kept because you guys got the money as well as other department heads. If those records were not kept, I would advise you to get them from people because they are FOIAble. Based on the reimbursements the taxpayers of this township have paid for. With that, thank you very much.
Thanks, Randy. All right, board. We'll do board comment. Jason, I will start with you.
I only got one question. Are we gonna get a Christmas dinner cooked by you guys this year?
For the ambulance guys?
Yes, I was told that you guys put a heck of a Christmas dinner on.
Fire
I don't know what the COVID rules
Prime
are.
rib.
Yeah.
Fire department.
Both. No,
All right. You're good, Sharon?
Yes, I have several things. They're quick. First of all, I don't want to get emotional, but thank you. I want to say thank you to the team of the TAA. Like I said earlier, from the start, getting our ambulance to the level that and care that we currently have. I just want to say kudos from the very beginning of where we started when TAA stepped through the doors here. And their contract is ending, but I want to say thank you to everybody that helped along the way. Dog licenses are now available now until the 28th of February. So there is a Michigan dog law. So if you've got your dogs, get your rabies certificates out and get your dog license. You can get an application online at the website, or you can come in the office and get your dog tags. With that reminder, I'd like to also send a reminder for the constant contact that we have that people need to can sign up, get more in your upcoming tax bill that will be kind of hitting your mailboxes around Thanksgiving. There'll be a newsletter in there, and that newsletter has more detail on the constant contact and how to subscribe to it. I hate to harass you with tax bills at Thanksgiving time, but just want to end it and say happy Thanksgiving.
Come on, no lie, you love it.
Oh, I have one more. The most important thing, I forgot, I got it right here. This past few days ago, we got our state of Michigan reimbursement check for the ARPA, which is our American Rescue Plan. The 50% came through. Received it just a couple days ago with a half payment. Our first check was in the amount of $61,702. That's the half payment of the $123,404. The board needs to have a plan put together prior to our budget time as to how this money is going to be allocated and spent with reports we need to do. So please put your thinking caps on between now and budget time so we can have our reports all done for the state of Michigan. So I wanted to bring that up. So
Are there restrictions as to what you can?
you do your homework and research, yes. There'll be a lot of
So
stuff
that-
on MTA to look. I will be bringing more stuff back for the board to look at along the way for that. Through MTA, got a board meeting next month at MTA in Lansing, so I'll try to get as much information I can. Some people received their monies a month ago, but we just got ours, and kudos to getting it done.
Well, you did all the work on it, so thank
Well,
you.
we got it, so.
All right, Kathy?
No.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Alan?
We had a disagreement with regard to how you do a rezoning in this township. In 1983, when we started zoning in this township, there's what's created is called a zoning map. You indicate those areas in the beginning where there's going to be residential, where there's going to be agricultural, where there's going to be timber reserve, commercial, and you lay this all out, and that starts the process of zoning. When you we've had very few rezonings in this township, and for various reasons, there was never a set of clear. It's really not a set of criteria in the zoning ordinance itself with regard to how we determine whether or not we make those changes. And that was my concern with regard to M88. I had no plus or minuses with regard to what the person wanted to do. I was looking at the criteria because we do have other places now, we have the possibility of rezoning. When you rezone an area, if you wanted to take a residential property in Torch Lake and turn it into now a commercial zone, you'd have to have some criteria to say yay or nay why you can't do that in that residential area. So you've got to have some criteria to do that now and in the future, and it ought to be in our ordinance. The group that came together to pass those petitions, we talked at length in terms of how we would represent that. I don't know what the misunderstanding was in the 20 documents you had, but I wish I had an opportunity to talk to those people. And Jason, you had said that you had spoken to a number of people. I'd like to know what you had said too, in terms of also hearing what I would have said when I was there. That's what needs to be cleared up. Again, this is where you need discussion. We sure didn't do anything purposefully to mislead people about anything other than the need for criteria in our ordinance when you do a rezoning, and it wasn't there. We had a good workshop back in May with regard to things that our zoning ordinance needed, put on by Steve Langworthy, a noted planner, in which he noted that we did not have a set of criteria in our zoning ordinance with regard to rezoning, and he gave us some possibilities. And I would hope that somebody would look at those. Nobody did, but that should have been done first. And then I think that somebody who wants to rezone would take a look in terms of what they're planning to do or want to do in that area, and it becomes very clear. That's, again, we get into that question of what's a use by right and what's a use by special use, in which the special use creates conditions for that use, whereas by right, you can go ahead and do as you please. And if you look not please, I'm sorry, in terms of what's in the ordinance, if you look on the village zone business called village business, there's a number of uses by right and there's a number of uses by special use. Also, what's unique about the village is that in the village residential, there are uses in there by right, but there also are special uses which are business-like. The whole idea in the village was to have businesses and residences kind of tied together. That was the original use. I don't know if that still holds true anymore, but that's what the concern was. So what I want to say, though, is that I have had no opportunity to find out what the misunderstanding was or how we were represented to the public. There's no intention to mislead people. We don't do that. I'm sorry. Don't do it. And that was never the intent. What's the gain? Help me with that. Anyways, that was what we were looking at with regard to that issue. And I think now it's very fair because the public may come back and say, no, we agree with the board. It should have been approved. And they have an opportunity to approve it and say, yeah, no, we're going to stick with what the board had approved that night. And that's fine, but people have an opportunity. Every zoning change can go to a vote of the people with a petition. And there's a way in the law to do that. And that's where this disagreement occurred. Hope it doesn't happen very often. That we're all more in agreement in terms of approving a zoning issue. So that's what I want to say about that with regard to misrepresentation. I mean, I have no idea what Mr. Stillings heard or didn't heard or what he said with regard to rezoning and issues about rezoning. So there's no way for me to determine the representation that was put forth about us. So that's where I sit with that. And we could just kind of go from there. Thank you.
All right. To answer that question, I think there were 31 or something, and you can go in and FOIA them. I think they have to be FOIA'd and you can get copies of them because I know Mr. Taylor got copies of them and were able to review them. And on many of them, there were comments and specific items that were identified as to why they thought they were misled. So you know, if you're serious about understanding what a group of people felt, that would be the best way to go about finding it.
Zoning is a really difficult thing to explain to people. Most people don't know how it functions or how it goes together. And so it was a difficult one. I will say that, you know, in the petitions that I obtained, rarely did I get away in terms of full explanation in less than 15 minutes. Often it was 30 minutes in terms of trying to show them how it works and what went on. And I know that in those statements there, I was correct. I was giving them the correct information. But whether people can understand and see how that goes together, that's the thing you have to do. I mean, I was a school teacher. Come on, I know how to do that stuff. I mean, it's not difficult. I don't have to mislead anybody about anything because we had a genuine concern. You can even see what my concern was if you look at the minutes from the last meeting, what I had stated with regard to that, my concern about that.
All
So.
right.
I'll stop there.
Well, what I would recommend is if you really want to do the research, you could take the people's names that filed a removal request and tie that back to the canvasser. And that would give you an indication of where the issue may or may not have been. If you really want to get to the bottom of it, you could do that little additional work and be happy to have a report back to the board what your findings are. All right. I just want to thank the board. We had got a lot accomplished tonight. I also want to tell the community that we are now fully enforcing the fire lane at the nature preserve. Our ordinance enforcement officer has issued 2 tickets. Our fire chief has issued 2 tickets. And we've had 2 signposts removed by somebody that had to have yanked them out with the truck because there is no way those posts were going to come out. So we are down, out of the 4 posts, we're down 2 posts. So the $500 fine is going to come in handy to replace posts. And all I've told the guys is go down deep and pour a lot of concrete in there because they've got the screws that you're not going to be able to remove it, but we had people that yanked them out. So anyway, that's all I have. I'll make the motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
I can second that.
All right, it's moved and seconded. All in
8:30.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thanks again, board.
What do you put a trail camera down there?
We are, but we didn't want to publish